Is Ohio State the most important team for an Ohio fan's psyche as a sports fan?
Shit, it is for me. I see no lies here.
Right, that's like a good thing. Like for Ohio fans, Ohio State is so important because if they weren't around or they weren't good,
So sad.
you would have way less sports fans, I think, right?
You would have a lot less Ohio-focused sports fans.
Because I'm just over here thinking about like if Ohio State football is historically the saving grace for Ohio sports, because the other teams that don't really go on runs, I mean the Browns, I mean the Cavs won one, the Guardians have been good for a long time, but it feels like they're good and kind of hitting that ceiling. But the Buckeyes are like the team that you get to this time of year and you start thinking about preseason rankings that you feel like every year that they suit up, that they've got a good chance of winning a title, right?
I have no clue why a Browns fan wouldn't be an Ohio State fan.
Is that a thing?
I mean, oh, brother, let me tell you. It's funny you asked it. There's a tweet today where a Browns fan posted a video making fun of the Will Howard game-winning throw to Jeremiah in the national championship, saying that it should have been a touchdown. And it was clear, very clear, that he is not a Buckeyes fan. He's a Browns fan.
Okay, what if that's cope because Will Howard's a Steeler?
That's what I thought. That was my first instinct. And then I checked the replies, and he's like, I'm not really an Ohio State fan. I'm just trolling, just to troll it. I'm like, buddy, this is not the fan base that you want to be messing with.
No, because they will not forget this one. And also, like, I don't know, trolling a national championship quarterback is always like funny. It's a funny decision to make.
Especially, I mean, Browns fans shouldn't troll any football franchise, any football fan base, at any level, high school, college. You know, I think Copley won one football game last year. You shouldn't say shit to a Copley high school football fan.
That's true. That's true.
But I mean, it's the only team. The Ohio State makes me emotional as a fan. The Guardians are a close. They're a second team, and then the Browns I just laugh at, and the Cavs I don't laugh at them, but like I just kind of. It is what it is, kind of deal.
Yeah, I wonder if the whole state of Ohio is really even a basketball state. Like Indiana is a basketball state. Ohio, while Cleveland and Akron have become like basketball cities, a large part of Ohio, the biggest portion of Ohio prefers, I think, football and baseball over basketball.
Well, if you think about it, like Cincinnati, there's no basketball in Kentucky besides Kentucky, Big Blue Nation. But like there's no pro basketball in Kentucky. There's no pro basketball in Cincinnati. There's no pro basketball in West Virginia. There's no below
like
Akron.
States, right?
There is no professional basketball.
And so like football is the currency.
I mean, there's not even professional basketball in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
So it's like basketball is just more like a Cleveland Akron thing. And I mean, the Cavs were popular like in the late 80s and 90s when they had Mark Price and Larry Nance.
I mean, they were popular the way
they were good. They were a good team. There was a couple Cavs teams in there that if Michael Jordan didn't exist, there was a couple finals runs for the Cavs.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, they were popular, but just not near the stratosphere. I mean, they were
not the same stratosphere, but like
it was like
they had good teams.
It's like Orlando Magic versus the Heat is kind of the stratospheres we're talking about in terms of like old Cavs versus new Cavs.
Yeah, that's fair. But like they were good though. I mean, absolutely they were good.
No, they were. I won't argue with that at all. Real quick on the Ohio State front, next 5 years, what defensive coordinator do you think is going to have more success? Jim Knowles or Matt Patricia?
I mean, I think Matt Patricia is not going to be. I think he's going to go back to the NFL.
Okay.
So that's kind of a hard question to answer. But if you're asking me who's going to have more success this year, I'm going to say Matt Patricia is.
What about the next 3 years?
I'm Matt Patricia. I think Matt Patricia is a better defensive coordinator. He's an NFL coordinator. He's got, the Super Bowl rings are like, them things be huge.
They're huge. They're heavy.
He got 3 of them things.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't fake it in the NFL, man. Like, you and I both, it's your philosophy, and I've completely agree. Like, if you're an NFL coordinator, you are better than a college coordinator. You just
Yeah,
are.
because you just can't fake it. Like I can't fake the advantages I have because my talent, my roster is so much better.
Think
I have to
about
go out
why.
the other guys.
Think about why we were so upset with Jim Knowles occasionally. Like, nobody cares when you give up less than 10 points to Iowa and
Mhm.
Akron and Bowling Green and Minnesota. Nobody cares because, like, when you walk in the stadium, Ohio State's already up 3 touchdowns. Period. End of story. So nobody cares. In the NFL, like, they're all good.
Yeah,
They're all
everybody was
pros.
everybody was an All-American. Everybody, was a
Yeah.
state champion. Everybody was, highly recruited. Like in the NFL, there is no, courtesy scholarships. They're all players. They were all the best player at their college. They're all players.
And, like, if you're
There's just no
asking
talent
me,
gap, bro. Like the NFL set up for everybody to go 8-8 every year. And Jeff Hafley's talked about
and
this.
I'm not even saying, and, like, honestly, I'll go a step further. I think Matt Patricia might be the best defensive coordinator in college football.
Oh wow, okay. I did not know you were
Like,
going
I
there.
don't like name me a college coordinator, defensive coordinator with a better resume than Matt Patricia's.
Well, I guess I'd have to like go pretty far in depth.
I, just off the top of your head. Like, I might get fried for this, and that's fine. But, like, I can't think of a big time defensive coordinator with a better resume in college football than Matt Patricia's.
No, I can't think of a better resume either right now because
And he's
honestly,
got
like what
3 Super Bowls.
guess what I'm saying? Like if we're going resume based, like what what
Yeah,
coach in the sport, regardless of anything, has a better resume than him?
maybe not. I
That's
mean,
what I'm
besides
saying.
Bill.
Yeah, Bill's the only
Bill's
one,
resume is pretty good.
but other than those are the top two resumes.
Yeah. Oh, DJ LeMahieu. How about it?
Yeah, how about it? How about it?
But, like, who has more talent on their defense, Penn State or Ohio State?
I think it's likely Ohio State. I think so. I mean, they
Even
recruit better.
even if it's, let's say it's even. Like, who am I gonna trust to use? I don't know. I mean, I don't want to sound like a hater because he left and, like, you know, Jim Knowles was a good. He did a great job. Like,
I mean, we
he
could we,
did.
we could talk about what Jim Knowles was. Like Jim Knowles did a really, really great job. But the things that bugged me about Jim Knowles is he took really unnecessary gambles at times when he had such talent advantage instead of letting guys play straight up. And then when you take away like the gambling side of it, then what is he really as a DC? Like
That's my thing. Like, people, like, Penn State fans hate on us for thinking that we're hating on Jim Knowles, but, like, if you look at some of the biggest games that he played in his tenure, he failed.
yeah.
You
But
gave up 42 to Michigan, and you gave up another, what was it, 30? What was 2023?
oh, I don't know. Those games have black holes. I mean, for me, it feels like Michigan's
A
just
lot
scored
of
40
points
every
there.
year.
The Georgia game, like, you failed. And I'll say the same thing about Matt Patricia if it's the same story.
Mhm.
I will. But I think in my mind, like, there isn't an offense. There's not many, if any at all, offensive coordinators that I think are going to be able to out scheme Matty P. I just
What
don't believe it.
what DC would you rather have this year? This Matt Patricia or Jeff Hafley?
Probably Matt Patricia because I don't. The reason, and it's not fair. This is not
Yeah, I
fair
was
to
gonna say
Jeff
where you're
Hafley.
about to go with this is so not fair. But
It's not
I'm just gonna
fair. But, like,
let you have it.
have we ever we didn't see Jeff Hafley without Chase Young. I'm sorry. It's not fair. I'm openly admitting that it's not fair. But, like, we have it. We're about to see what Matty P does without a dominant pass rusher. Unless he turns.
I just want to say this. The year before, in 2018, that Ohio State
I
defense
know.
had Nick Bosa and Chase Young.
Man, Nick Bosa played a game and a half. It doesn't
Okay,
count.
they had dudes, and they went from a historically bad Ohio State defense to one of the greatest ever, just overnight.
No, I
And
get it, man.
if
I really do get it.
Jeff Hafley and that Jimmy Neutron brain, had a hold of this defense
I
with Caleb Downs. I'm just saying. I just think it's worth the conversation because it's like
it absolutely is worth a
we
conversation, and
also
I'm
we
willing to
also
have.
never saw Jeff Hafley with a player near the caliber of Caleb Downs.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know what Matt Patricia is going to be like. I'm just projecting my ass off.
Yeah, no, it's a projection. But I always like to say this.
See, here's the thing:
I'm
everybody
gonna
needs to
tell my great
understand.
grandkids about Jeff Hafley.
Yes, Chris loves Jeff Hafley more than I think he might love Jeff Hafley more than like Ryan Day and Urban Meyer.
Bro, he's my favorite Ohio State assistant coach of all time.
Yeah, yeah.
What he did for me. Whenever girls are like, "Do you really think I'm perfect?" I was like, "Well, you'll never be Jeff Hafley, but you know, I do think you're really pretty." Can you remember a
Wait,
time?
well, hold on one second. Speaking of Ohio State assistant coaches, I got not really that cooked, but people got upset with me on Twitter
No, someone just got aggressive with you, bro.
and I said that Tim Walton deserves the same bit of freedom that Brian Hartline does when it comes to recruiting.
So
And some people didn't like that.
backstory. Tim Walton is doing the thing that USC and Pete Carroll used to do when they went on a crazy run, is they just extend less offers because Ohio State DB offers, like wide receiver offers, have become like gold. And people have been saying, I wish we cast a wider net with DBs. I want more offers to go out, which is essentially criticizing the tactic of Walton, who, and I'm going to give the floor to you.
He's had on Rivals, he has 12 4- and 5-star recruits in the last 3 cycles. So 2023, 2024, 2025. On 247, he has 10. Brian Hartline also has 10. So now the thing about it is wide receivers it's a little bit of a sexier position. It's a little bit more of a big time recruiting story. But like people want him to cast wire net, but like, okay, you bring in 5 more DBs. Like, when the fuck are those kids going to play?
Exactly.
We can't even get now. Like, I think people haven't felt Walton's recruiting because none of his guys have gotten to play yet. Because Denzel Burke and Jordan Hancock played for a half a decade. It felt like.
I'd agree. And like the deconstruction of rooms, I guess. And what I mean by that is like when Brian Hartline took over, like it was right when Chris Olave was a freshman who he didn't recruit was there. And so Brian Hartline became the wide receiver coach and he felt the pop immediately because
Right.
he was already in the building and gonna play. And then
And
also
Dwayne Haskins was the quarterback and not JT Barrett.
so you felt the flip, the switch flip between like a typical like run power offense versus a throw the ball around the yard offense. And so you felt like a more drastic change.
Yeah. And not to mention, like, we're about to have a discussion about Ohio State having the 2 best players in the sport. Like, Tim Walton also looked Kirby Smart in the face and took Caleb Downs and brought him up north.
And Caleb Downs is from Georgia.
Yes. And he went down to Ole Miss and got Iggy to come up here as well. And like, say what you want about Igmanosin, but like, he's going to be a draft pick.
Yeah, and it's funny because the same people that don't like Iggy, I always say like, look, we brought Iggy in at a time where our DBs weren't even getting close enough to wide receivers to grab them for a PI call.
Yeah.
So if you're grabbing them, it means you're close enough. And a lot of college PI doesn't get called. I watched Joey Porter Jr. for 3 years. Grab, hold on for dear life, get whipped around, do all kinds of stuff, and it didn't really get called. So I like an Igmanosin type player. Right now, Walt's room is going to have the same issue that Hartline's room is, and that means a really, really good player is not going to be on the field.
Right. And so like all I said was, I'm not saying that Walt is Brian Hartline because like
I'll
he's
say
not.
it. I'll say it. To me, he is Brian Hartline, and he's just not as famous because Walton wasn't as famous of a Buckeye, and it's also not as sexy of a position. Like
But
once he gets his first top 10 pick in that room, it's gonna be like, okay, here we go.
yeah, and like he has Caleb Downs and he has Devin Sanchez, but like all I'm saying is like I'm giving Walton the benefit of the doubt to do whatever he wants until proven otherwise.
Right. Of all the rooms
That was my only argument. It was like if he doesn't want to give out that many offers, fine. I don't care. There's NFL players in that room.
and the dude that snapped is Zona Buckeye. I'm like, Zona Buckeye is probably like the biggest Heartline fan alive, and I'm a Heartline fan too. I think Heartline does a great job. I think he's going to be a really good coach for the foreseeable future. But it's like once people hear someone associated with their goat, it's like the teeth come out.
Yeah, no, I get it. It's like old people are with Michael Jordan.
Literally was going to be my example. Can you remember a time where Ohio State had basically the undisputed best player on offense and on defense at the same time?
Well, I got to think about when they had the best player in the country. So 2019, they had Chase Young.
But did we know Chase Young was going to be the best player in the country heading into 19?
No, no, I'm trying to think of like when we knew we had like the best player. Even like Zeke in 24, like we didn't know Zeke in 2014.
And honestly, we ignore because people should have known that Zeke was going to be the best player in the country in 2015 by the end of the 2014 run, but I think it just got ignored.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, how often? Like, I guess junior year Marv, like people thought Marv was gonna be the best player in the was the best player in the country. So that would have been what 2023.
Yeah.
But we didn't have anybody on defense. I would say that lived up to that billing. So it's just one of those things where I don't know. I mean, no. I guess the answer would be no. We
Because
have
here we go. And the other part of it is like usually we don't really get an undisputed best player in the sport on either side of the ball. Very rarely anyway. Usually there's some dispute. This one, it feels like there's virtually no pushback.
Yeah, it's kind of wild. Like it's kind of universally known.
Yeah, that doesn't happen
Like,
very often.
all of the media is like, yeah, these guys are the best. Like, there's no debating.
I mean, people are talking about a safety being a top 5 pick in the draft next year, and that's literally unheard of. And then people are talking about Jeremiah Smith last year would have been, a top 5 pick after his freshman year.
I mean, there was reports of general managers saying he would have been one.
Yeah,
He would have gone first.
which is absolutely absurd. What would be more?
What's the highest? Who's the highest? Did Keyshawn Johnson go number 1 overall? Was that the last? Was that the first?
I think he went number 1 overall, and then Calvin Johnson went number 2 overall.
Okay. Yeah.
So, but that's a different era of drafting. I don't think Jeremiah Smith would be a number 1 overall pick ever, like in the future.
It's all. I think the only way that happens if the number 1 team, like the number 1 team, has a quarterback that got hurt and didn't play all year.
But
Right.
even then, like I think that teams would take 4 first-round picks and move down. That's what I'm saying.
Also correct. So yes, you're yeah. I was
Now,
just
if
trying
he's
to,
good,
I was just trying to think of a scenario, and I was like, that's the only one I can come up with.
now if he's so good that a quarterback gets hurt, they number 1 overall pick, and they still don't do it, that's basically like you adjust it. That's number 0. Like that's higher than our number 1 overall pick.
Yeah, bro. Yeah. I mean,
Now,
if you went back at Julio's draft, I wonder, like, would the team that drafted 1 take it Julio?
no,
You don't think so?
no. What draft was that?
Was
I mean,
that
shoot, because they traded the pick for Julio. The Browns did. So they even moved down for the sake of Julio.
Oh, that was a
Right?
mistake. Well, if the Browns do something, I'm going to take it as a mistake.
Because the Browns traded that pick, and that ended up being Julio Jones. And Julio Jones, here we go. Fun fact, was not even wide receiver 1 in that draft.
Christ.
Do you want to take a stab at who was wide receiver 1?
Was it 2012?
It was 2011.
Mike Evans?
Mm-mm-mm.
I got nothing.
AJ Green. The Falcons wanted AJ Green from Georgia. Great player.
AJ Green was a good player too.
Yeah, great player. I'll go a step above a great player.
Yeah, he was good. He was really good.
So
yeah, no, I mean, Caleb Downs. I mean, a safety going in the top 5 is going to be insane, and Jeremiah's going to go in the top 5 when it's his turn. So no, the answer to the original question of both best player on both sides of the ball on one team never happened.
Yeah.
So my follow-up question to that is, what kind of pressure, if at all, coming off of a natty, does that put on Ryan Day to put another, like, to go back to back?
It's funny because that was kind of how I was going to unfold it, because you have the best player on offense and the best player on defense, but I don't think there's any pressure on Ryan to go back to back. I think there's virtually no pressure on Ryan to go back to back.
Well, I'll say this. You know what will put pressure on Ryan to go back-to-back?
Hmm.
Is if they go out week 1 and beat Texas and Julian Sand looks like the guy that everybody says he is.
Then you have to go back to back. That
Yeah,
happens. And you have to.
then you don't really have a choice, my boy.
You ain't got no choice, my boy.
So, no, I mean, I don't know. That's interesting. I think Jeremiah will. Has there ever been a back-to-back Biletnikoff winner?
Yep, Michael Crabtree
Okay, so
and Justin Blackman.
Oklahoma State. Those were the days.
Mm-hmm.
Those were fun. Those were fun days to watch. Big 12 Big 12 at night when they just be throwing the ball all over the field.
Just 100 times a game. But yeah, those two went back to back Biletnikoff. But what's it called? Doesn't even have a Biletnikoff yet, so we got to get one.
Who?
Like
Jeremiah
Smith, yeah.
Oh, I think he's gonna. I think he'll
Yeah, I'm saying
definitely win one.
Yeah, this year wouldn't be the back to back one.
I know. I'm saying, but like if he wins it this year, then the conversation will be like, can he go back to back?
Yeah.
And now that Ohio State's gonna have a new SID, we might have a chance for that.
Shout out Jerry Amick. Hope you have a what do they say? Happy trails.
Yeah, happy trails.
We're getting closer. Have you been following the Michigan thing at all? Their hearing process or whatever? Do you care at all? I guess we haven't.
I am following in a sense of this. I'm starting to get a little nervous for old Buckeye Scoop because they put their whole brand on this.
I think that's the most interesting thing about this. Like, I think the scandal and stuff is interesting, but the punishment, I'm not really too invested in. I'm more curious about the Buckeye Scoop angle of this because they've essentially put their whole reputation on this quote unquote hammer.
I mean, there are a lot of people that have put their reputation on this.
Who though? Because to me, it's just Buckeye Scoop.
Well, isn't James Yoder? He's also kind of on it, or is he just calling them out all the time?
Yeah, well, James Yoder's like the anti-Buckeye Scoop, saying they don't know anything.
Oh, but they don't. He's not putting his name on anything, though.
I don't think so.
Oh, well, yeah. I just feel like people are talking like they know, and I just don't know if they actually know shit about anything. I don't know. I mean,
and like we won't know.
I will be interested on the reaction, but I'm not interested in following. Like, let me know what happens.
Yeah,
because it's been so long. I'm like, whatever.
All right, bro. Like since then, Michigan won a natty, and then we won a natty since the whole thing broke.
Yeah, and it's just like one of these things where I want them to vacate everything just so I can tell these Michigan fans, like, I don't know what you're talking about. You didn't do shit.
Yeah, I said I have no recollection of this.
What are you talking about?
Of this natty you speak of.
Show me the numbers, because then because immediately as soon as it happens, somebody's going to the Wikipedia page and deleting all that shit.
Right, immediately, and then it'll get reviewed, and it'll be a whole big thing. No more natty for Jim Harbaugh, which would be crazy. Right?
I mean, like you're gonna have to put they're gonna have to put all that shit in the vault with the Fab Five.
The Fab Five with the USC with Reggie Bush's Heisman, like all that's got to go away. Oh, you're talking about specifically Michigan.
Yeah, specifically Michigan.
Yeah.
So I mean, the only way that I think that if you really want to punish Michigan like the right way, not even the right way, if you really want to punish Michigan, it's scholarships, it's recruiting, and a bowl ban. Like, no, the vacating bullshit. Like, I don't care if they vacate stuff. Great. If they don't, great.
Does a 1-year bowl ban hurt them?
Yeah. Well, here's my question: when the punishment comes down, is there a window of time where the players can leave?
Yeah, it also automatically triggers the window. The issue is it's going to be right in August, is I believe when the punishment is going to happen, or late July.
So here's my thing: is like, if let's say they do have a 1-year bowl ban, do some of their older guys leave?
I think the kids that would have left would have already left by now.
Okay. Just like, you have this senior that's come back and, wants a chance at a postseason playoff. Like, do they leave? But I don't know. If you're asking me, does a 1-year bowl ban really, like, no, because Ohio State survived and came out the other end, with flying colors.
Yeah, it's like It's the
if you're
multi-year
gonna
bowl
really
ban.
want to do it, it's got to be a 2-year bowl ban.
The
Because now you're
multi-year
talking about like Bryce
pain.
Hunter was probably looking around like, the fuck are we doing?
Yeah, the 2-year bowl ban definitely hurts them. The 1-year bowl ban, I don't think does, because I don't think they're going to win a championship this year anyway. In fact, I would argue that our 1-year bowl ban was more painful because we would have won it that year.
Yeah, because we would have beat the brakes off of Notre Dame just like
Alabama did.
Alabama did.
Jumping ahead. What would be more impressive, 2 J.J. Blinikoffs or a top 2 Heisman finish from Caleb Downs this year?
Well, we talked about this. If Caleb Downs is back there returning punts, like I think I would say JJ back-to-back Blitnikoffs because, like, I think Caleb Downs is that. I kind of expect it. So it's like, from the standpoint of like, I feel like if there's a defensive player that can do it, it's like he's the guy to do it.
Yeah, he's the one. And that checks out.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like I guess what I'm saying is like I kind of expect Caleb Downs to be in New York or be like in the conversation to be in New York.
Yeah, top 2's different level though. Top 2 Heisman.
No, I know. I mean, but like a back-to-back Blitnikoff, like boy, he's gonna have to be really good because them voters don't want to give back-to-backs to anybody.
They hate giving back-to-backs.
That's what I'm saying. So like that means he was unbelievable, which he kind of is. So yeah, I'll take the back-to-back Blitnikoffs just because I think Caleb Downs is that.
Browns next week. What are you looking for out of the quarterback position, and what are you looking for out of the media this week? Fascinating times.
Well, I'm looking to see if they're gonna if Shador is gonna pass Dylan Gabriel, like with who he's repping with.
If he doesn't, does that concern you?
It does when all I keep hearing about is how good Shador is and how bad Dylan's looked. So then it becomes like, okay, what are we doing? Either somebody's lying or the Browns are doing some shit that shouldn't be done.
Or the Browns are trying to be right instead of get it right.
Yeah. So for the media perspective, just some more bullshit, some more circus-like behavior.
I guess I'm just curious how it's going to be covered situationally throughout this, because like, is one player going to get more grace than another?
Oh, I think Shador's going to get from the media or from the fan base.
Yeah, from both. Like,
Shador's going to get way more grace than Dylan Gabriel will.
You think so? Because I think there's a large faction of Shador haters that are going to be really loud when he has a bad day.
No, I think. I don't know. I mean, everything I see on Shador is very, very positive. Like, there's not a lot of people that don't like Shador from what I'm seeing on social media. I think there's a word for people that, if he's playing well and all the reports that he is playing well and people still don't like him, then there's another word for that, I think.
It ends in ism. What
can you be mad about if he's playing good?
You can be mad at one thing only, and it's something that's out of his control.
Yeah, and like he's not posting on social media. He's not doing anything out of the ordinary. Like he's just doing his thing. And like they mic'd up Joe Flacco, and it seems like him and Shador are getting along very well. So again, like he's a charismatic figure, man. People want to talk to about him.
He seems like a magnet too, a little bit. Like it seems like the team wants to be around him as well. I know the fan base is really like magnet to him, but the whole Shador process, one of the things that never got brought up was him being a quote unquote bad teammate. It was almost
nobody's ever said that.
Yeah, and that's fascinating because usually when you get these guys with a flashy personality, with a lot of quote unquote the off the field red flags, usually the thing that's you hear about them coming out of the clubhouse is we're not sure how great of a teammate he is because he's so much of a me guy, right? Like, even with Zach Wilson, there was the reports that he didn't get invited to anybody's birthday party, and it was like a me guy, and 3-4 years of BYU and he wasn't a captain. Like you usually hear stuff like that when you hear about quarterbacks with red flags, when you consider all the other stuff that people associate with him. But that's like you don't get that. It's like you get the flashiness, maybe not prepared, maybe not professional, but a really great teammate. And so it's a really unique distinction with him.
The only thing that I've seen that I didn't like about what I heard about him in the locker room was when he went to the fashion whatever week instead of
So
like
he missed
I didn't love that.
he missed 2 days of Colorado practice to go to Fashion Week.
Yeah, I didn't really love that, but that also I think
I do put some of that on Dion though.
correct. I was gonna get there. Like he's got a yeah. I'm fascinated by what is he gonna be like with somebody else coaching him. Like
Mhm.
that's what I'm really curious about. How is he gonna handle that? How is he gonna handle when a grown man in the
Yeah,
locker room
in the NFL.
like checks him?
Yeah.
Like a 32-year-old vet who's done it, been around the block, and has been putting food on his family's plate, I'm
Mhm.
sure very well, which I always like kind of question, like when people are like, oh, they're grown men, like they're trying to feed their family, like they're getting paid millions of fucking dollars. Like, what are
It's
we
like,
talking
dog,
about?
he could feed his family for forever.
Yeah, but it's just like this is their job and they treat it as such. And then when
Yeah.
like, what's he gonna do when somebody checks him and his dad's not there to check that player? Or if that ever happened. And not that I've ever heard that happen.
It's probably gonna happen at some point. There's gonna be some, like, voices being raised naturally. But I am curious too, because like, obviously, like, this is new uncharted territory for him.
But
But if he keeps playing well, it might not happen, because right
but
now we're
again,
hearing about just how
yeah.
well he's playing.
But again, like at the end of the day, we've said it and we'll keep saying he's the most talented player in that position room.
Mhm.
If he plays like he's capable of playing, he's the best player in the room. The only thing that makes to me Joe Flacco worth playing early on is because like there's nothing that Joe Flacco hasn't seen before. There
Yeah.
literally is not a defense that he hasn't seen before. So that gives Joe Flacco the leg up. But there's no reason why, like if you told me right now, so Tyler, Joe Flacco is going to start the first 6 games of the season. We're going to go 2-4. And then Shador's going to take over. Be like, okay, let's do it.
I
I
wouldn't be
think
mad at that. I wouldn't be mad at that at all.
I don't think you can be
Yeah.
because like this roster is not a good roster. I don't care
Is
what
that an answer
anybody
to my
says.
question? What kind of year would be decent year of progress for the Browns?
You want to know what a decent year of progress would be?
Hmm.
Is finding out is getting an answer. Is Dylan Gabriel or Shador Sanders an NFL quarterback? Getting that answer is a successful season for the Browns this year.
So you're okay, like minimum, you're okay with that? You'll take it?
I don't care because now I know what to do going into the next year's draft when I have 2 top 10 picks. Because if you go into next year, you go into that draft, like that next year's draft might be the most important draft since 1999.
Yeah.
Because this is going to it's either going to set them on an upward trajectory or they're going to continue to suck. And there's no other way around it. Like this, they have to know what they have to do when it comes time for next year's draft. Because Jacksonville's going to suck because Trevor Lawrence is still their quarterback,
I
and the
think he's
Browns
so
are also going to be
overrated.
suck.
I think he's so overrated.
So, top 10 picks, you're going to have 2 of them. So, if you need a quarterback, you trade them both and you move it to one, you take the guy you want. Or if you don't need a quarterback because, one of those 2 guys is good, then you can really get 2 really, really good players. You go get Caleb Downs and you go get, whatever else you need. Maybe there's an awesome left tackle.
Would you do the monopoly thing where you trade your higher of those 2 picks for 2 more first-round picks?
No. At some point, bro, you got to just start that. You got to get players. Like
Okay.
at some point, you can't just be like,
Maybe next year.
yeah. I did see DeJuan Jones. Like he looked really good.
He looks
Like
real slim, man.
physically, he looked. It's
This is
crazy
the
to say that
slimmest.
about a guy who's 380 pounds, but like he looked really good.
No, this is the slimmest I've ever seen DeJuan look.
And it's just like, man, he looks like he's starting to figure it out because he is like he has the size to be like an all-time left tackle. Like he has the body
and the athleticism. Like he's a really, really
and the
good athlete.
athleticism. It's just like, can he put it together?
Can he stop eating?
Clearly he's done something with his diet to help, but like the question becomes like, DeJuan Jones will never get the left tackle money until the end of that. He will, before he gets his big payday, he will be a free agent.
It'll be a backloaded.
It has to be a backloaded deal because you just can't trust that guy.
You can't risk it.
No. And like, could he be a Hall of Fame left tackle? Absolutely he could. 100%. Too big, too athletic. And he's kind of nasty too. Like you can tell he can be kind of nasty with it.
Really heavy-handed.
Heavy-handed. Like, I mean, that's Trent Williams.
Yeah.
Like, essentially, like he could be Trent Williams. And he could do it for a long time if he could just make sure he doesn't eat McDonald's every.
Why does Cleveland Sports have all these guys across their multiple sports just with so much ridiculous potential, and we just got to like sit on our hands and wait for them to hopefully figure it out?
I don't know, man. It's like Cleveland's favorite word is potential.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, like I said, you're asking me what do the Browns need to do to have a successful season? Figure out if Shedeur or Dylan Gabriel is an NFL quarterback. Because I personally believe, and I think I'm in the minority with this, I think this roster stinks.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think this is a good roster. I have no idea who's playing safety. Martin Emerson is still a starting cornerback on this team. I have no idea who's playing linebacker besides a white kid from UCLA. I don't know who's rushing the passer with Myles Garrett.
It is a lot of unknowns. I think the roster's decent. It is a lot.
I don't know who's playing. Who's the second wide receiver? Elijah Moore's gone.
Yeah,
You're gonna roll with Cedric Tillman.
It's Judy and friends.
And you got two young running backs, and like I'm worried about this offensive line. I just am. I'm sorry. Like I think you think the roster might be a little bit better than I do, but I just don't see it, man. I just don't. This is the same roster essentially. We just watched them play.
Yeah, but also we watched the defense like give up last year because they figured out, okay, like this game's over. Like they were a historically great defense until they figured out and they might never score.
I hope I'm wrong. I want to be wrong. For anybody listening saying that I'm a hater, I want to be wrong,
like,
but I don't see it.
This was a historically good defense last year until they figured out our offense is not going to score, right?
Maybe.
They weren't. No. I'm talking. Just they weren't historic, like putting up historic numbers to start the year.
2023.
I thought last year they were putting up historic numbers to start the year.
They had Juan Thornhill jogging around in center field.
So that was 2 years ago. They had a historic start.
2 years ago. 2 years ago, 2023, when they made the playoffs.
Yeah,
that was the year they had a really insanely good defense, and then they choked against C.J. Stroud when he cooked them.
I guess my
Martin Emerson was food.
Yeah,
filet mignon food, boy.
He's so regular, bro.
So I figure out if you got a quarterback. If you got a quarterback, then 2026 draft can be
really fun.
A franchise-changing draft.
It could be really fun. Want to switch gears? Got to talk about the Guardians who played today. Won today. Obviously, this will probably come out on a Monday, but they won today.
Yeah, they got
I don't know where you want to start, Tyler, because this team really concerns you. Obviously, they just, they've had the moments. They had the series against the Yankees. That was a little bit weird and uncomfortable. We did the instant reaction to that. They had the grouping here recently. I believe you said they've lost 4 of their last 5 series.
Well, they lost the series to Houston just now. They lost the series in New York. They got swept by the Reds. And they won the Tigers series, so that's 3 of 4 they've lost.
So that Tigers series, when it looked like they're about to go on a crazy run, because obviously that Tigers team is really good baseball team, top 5 baseball team in the sport. You think that once you beat them,
and they lost to the Dodgers series, so that's 4 or 5.
Dodgers series too. But like that Tigers series, you feel like okay, they could rip off and steal a couple. The loss in the Cincinnati series is gross. I don't know how you view the Houston series, though. So I guess I'll just ask you to unpack your thoughts, and then we'll have to get to this team because there's a lot to discuss, considering how bothersome this team can be given the daily lineups that they trot out there.
Let me ask you this question. If you said the Guardians were going to face, before I go on a very dark hole that I'm going to go down, I want to try to be in perspective. They played 12 games against the Tigers, the Dodgers, the Yankees, and the Astros. All 4 of those teams are playoff teams, correct?
Mm-hmm.
They went 6-6.
Okay, if you were going to ask me what should they wanted to be, 6-6 is the answer there.
Correct. Okay. So, and then they did beat the Angels. So whatever. My math's 4 of 6. Whatever. They took 2 or 3 from the Angels, somewhere in there as well.
Mm-hmm.
So the concerning, like, if you ask me, like, okay, yeah, let's do that. But here's my concern: is if we are tired as a Guardians fan base, I'm tired. I want to win the whole thing. Like, we've been knocking on the door way too much, overperforming for way too long, outperforming the talent, outperforming the roster spending. All of those things are true. But the way that they're losing these games against the good teams is the reason why they are is because they're behaving like they're not a good team.
Mm-hmm.
What is a Will Wilson? Why are we pinch hitting John Kenzie Noel for anybody?
He's hitting 130.
These are the questions that we're asking. Like, Will Wilson's playing meaningful innings against really good teams. John Kenzie Noel is getting meaningful at bats against really good teams in clutch situations. Like, you cannot go into a playoff series with Will Wilson being on your roster.
It does feel like they're acknowledging that. Well, it does feel like they're going into a lot of these big matchups outgunned, but pretending like they're not outgunned. Like the decision to pinch hit John Kenzie Noel for Nolan Jones and like feel confident about it or pretend to be confident about it. It feels like one of the more insane moments, right?
I want to have this conversation, and then the second part of the conversation, we have to acknowledge that it's reality. The platooning thing is the crutch that they're leaning on with the platooning thing is killing this team. And we can both acknowledge that this team, like, there's no reason Nolan Jones should be getting pinch hit for John Kenzie Noel, regardless of who's pitching.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you're going to tell me that there's another option to pinch hit him for, sure. But John Kenzie Noel cannot be the option. Nolan Jones is better than him. I don't care who's pitching. If he throws left, right, center, it doesn't matter. Nolan Jones is a better hitter than John Kenzie Noel.
And I think everybody knows that. And that's why it's confusing.
Correct. And so now it's like, stop. Don't do that anymore. And, like, there's got to be a better option to play second base against. Like, is Daniel Schneemann better against left-handed pitchers than Will Wilson? I think the answer is probably yes.
Mm-hmm.
He's just a better player.
So just like play him.
Just play him.
I think that, like, at some point the Guardians have to decide that they are okay living with the splits while also allowing guys to get better on one side versus the other side. The issue with this platooning thing is once you do it and you like commit to it so far, Schneemann won't ever get the chance to prove he's better than on the other side of it. And it's also funny because, like, Manzardo, who I'm sure we're going to talk about too, he had some pop early against lefties, so he can absolutely do it. Now, it went away for a while, but it's like, why not allow him the chance to like figure things out on both sides? You're eliminating everyday players, and I think that is not a recipe for success.
The confusing part is
October
is in Columbus with all these two kids that all this fan base absolutely loves, CJ Cafes and Chase Louder. They're hitting tanks off left-handed pitchers. They don't platoon in Columbus. What's the problem here?
Yeah.
And I get it. Like, major league pitchers there's a reason why pitchers are in Major League Baseball versus pitchers in AAA. There's a reason. They're just better. I get it. I've also heard a lot of, now they're older, but like old players said it's easier to hit in Major League Baseball than in the minors because the pitchers are better. The lights are brighter. It's easier to see. They throw more strikes. The umpires are better, blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, like, if you're just going to platoon, and clearly they want to see what Nolan Jones is about, Chase Louder is not coming. What's the point of bringing him up to sit him?
Yeah.
CJ Kafis, he's not coming. So we need to remove that thought. Okay, now we're pivoting to now reality. This is who they are. What do we got to do to not see Will Wilson? There's got to be another option. There has to be. They've drafted and signed dozens of shortstops in the last decade.
I mean,
This can't be the option in the middle of Will Wilson. There's got to be a better option in the middle of the field than Will Wilson. There has to be.
This team just played in the ALCS. Like, they cannot have Will Wilson trotting out there for a whole season.
No. And like Brian Rocchio is tearing the cover off the ball in AAA, but he also just made his 8th error since being down there.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, can he play second base?
I believe that every shortstop can play second.
That's what I'm saying. Like, have him play second base and Gabe play short. But also, at the same time, we just said they drafted a dozen shortstops in the last 10 years. How is this the option? Yeah. Gabe and Will Wilson and Brian Rocchio. This is what our options are after all the shortstops that they've signed and drafted. This is what we got to work with. Unacceptable. It can't be. I mean, Francisco Lindor got shipped out the door because we couldn't pay him, and it's been a black hole ever since. The last everyday right fielder the Guardians have had was Lonnie Chisenhall. Ooh. I mean, his name was Lonnie.
I don't even think parents name their kids Lonnie anymore.
No.
Like, they just don't.
It's just, to me, like, it can't. There has to be other options. And so they just brought up Jonathan Rodriguez for John Kenzie Noel. And, like, Jonathan Rodriguez is absolutely, like, he tears the cover off the ball in Columbus.
He's a quad A superstar.
He is a quad A player. And then and people are like, oh, he's only had 42 at-bats, give him a chance. It is the most uninspiring 42 at-bats I ever did see.
I do think that they should give him more than 42 at-bats, though.
I agree, but you can see it. There's twitch, and there's, like, you can see, like, yeah, he's got it. Or you can be like, we got to see. And there's also times where, like, yeah, he doesn't have it, and you know it. It's like when you put on a pair, like when you try on a new shirt or a new pair of pants, like, you know. As soon as you put it on, you know. And, like, you see it. If you watch baseball enough, you can tell where somebody has it and somebody doesn't. And I don't think like, come on.
But some, in the defense, sometimes guys that are like that kind of sleepy player, sometimes those are like late bloomer guys.
But we've had a history of that. People thought Bobby Bradley was going to be fucking Albert Pujols and Albert Bell from the left side.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair.
He was dropping tank. He hit the most minor league homers when he was in the Cleveland organization. He hit more homers in the minors than anybody in baseball.
Yeah,
he got up here and couldn't hit a baseball with a tennis racket.
Yeah, that's fair. I guess I'm not mad.
There's a lot of those with Cleveland. There's a lot.
Yeah.
They get up here and they get their chances, and they are just not there.
I do want to ask about young players and a separate question. Obviously, like, I'm a Yankee guy, hat tells it all, whatever. But I do follow the Guardians very, very closely. Do you think that the Cleveland Guardians fans and fans of baseball in particular thought that the Guardians were a lot higher on Manzardo than they actually are? Because it feels like amongst the fan base, everybody thinks Manzardo is supposed to be the next up. I think he's really good. I think he's a talented player. I think he's a talented young player. I thought he was the future plans. And then they do think that signal that maybe that they're not as in love with Manzardo as everybody else is. Like, for example, Noel playing more games than Manzardo since they've both been up in Cleveland.
I think, and we briefly talked about this afternoon, I think that the fans thought that Manzardo was the one when they traded Josh Naylor.
Right.
Because they thought they were clearing space for Kyle Manzardo to play every day. Now it's looking like more like that Josh Naylor trade was a money and a personal conduct thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because, the Guardians have a culture and they believe in it. And they believe in working hard. I mean, look at Jose Ramirez is 5'8", and he's absolutely maximized himself.
Culture monster.
And Josh Naylor was not maximizing himself. I mean, he looked like he ate himself.
Yeah, he went from here we go. We did the whole right fielder everyday thing. Like one can argue he was the everyday right fielder.
Yes. And he ate his way out of a position. He ate and drank Budweiser out of his way out of a position and had to go play first base. And he actually is a good first baseman. He's got nice hands.
And I will give him some leniency because he gained the weight after the injury.
Sure.
He had the nasty ankle injury from the collision playing outfield.
Okay, well, maybe you got to change your diet. Like be a pro. You're a professional athlete. Like your body is your biggest tool.
It's your temple.
Yeah, there's a reason why LeBron spends so much money on his body.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason why, like, when you're a professional athlete, like you're taking care of your body is insurance. It's what it is.
Yeah, and he didn't do that. And you said he was, drinking the Bud Heavies. But again, like we thought that when that trade went through, okay, you're clearing space for Manzardo, especially because Manzardo just had a really positive postseason. Like when I'm a Yankee fan, when Manzardo came up, I had some nerves because he had some power to right field and lefty swing.
It just makes you wonder, like, they cleared out for Manzardo, they signed Carlos Santana, and you're like, okay, I kind of like that. A year to learn from Carlos.
And they're going to get him DH at bats and then work him in the starting lineup to make sure he's getting a good amount.
He's going to play a lot of DH and play some first base and it was like, okay, this makes sense. And it's like, and then you like remember that David Fry's going to come back and you're like, David Fry can't throw the baseball.
Yeah.
And I just feel like probably more the fan base. I hope more than the fan base. Like we hold on to like moments. Like people in Cleveland love Rajai Davis. Mm-hmm. They love him.
It's about a moment.
And like he stunk. Like
he'll never be remembered as someone who stunk though.
No, but like so David Fry hit a walk-off homer against the Yankees in a series we lost in 5 games. It was a gentleman's sweep. Like, come on.
Yeah.
And like David Fry being on this team is a positive thing. He is a good player, but he's not good enough to take away bats from a 23-year-old kid who has an OPS over 700 in his first, not even 162 games of his career.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just not good enough for that. He shouldn't have to wait. And so to me, it's just like I don't know what the plan is. Like there's a reason why our team has had problems developing young players. Because they don't ever get to play and fail, and like
they never get the at bats too to like gain the information. I think.
And like baseball is like a marathon of a season. Like, oh my god, it's so long. Like you're gonna have periods of time where like you can't do it, you can't hit, but like you'd only lose patience on a guy who has had probably 1,000 at bats.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you get 1,000 at bats as a major leaguer, like we probably know who you are.
I think I get more frustrated by the distribution of at bats the Guardians players get rather than like here we go. It feels like Will Wilson and Giancarlo Noel have been given such a long leash and like a lot of chances to fail, and like that wouldn't bug me if Manzardo was also given those same opportunities. You know what I'm saying?
They're about to play Cincinnati's going to throw 3 left-handed pitchers, 3 in a row against the Reds. The Reds are coming to Cleveland. They're going to pitch 3 left-handed pitchers in a row. Is Manzardo going to sit the bench the whole week?
So we might not see Manzardo for a whole series.
That's insanity.
Yeah. Now David Fry's been playing well. Like David Fry's been hitting the ball.
I mean, has he?
Since he got up. Yeah, since he got here.
He has 15 at bats. He has 8 strikeouts.
Yeah, but what's his? Strikeouts don't matter. What's his OPS?
694.
Oh wow,
15 at bats.
He's got the home run. I thought he hit a double off the wall.
He has 3 hits and one of them is a home run.
Okay.
He has 2 singles, a home run, 2 RBIs, 2 walks, and 8 strikeouts.
Well, it felt like he'd been hitting better than that. So
I'm not gonna get too much on the strikeouts, but like David Fry is being David Fry. This is
Yeah.
who he is. Like, he was great in May, and then he gave us some couple moments in the playoffs, but like, this is who David Fry is.
He gave the moment in the playoffs.
I don't know. People remember John Kenzie Noel's homer better.
You're right. The tying homer.
But maybe because it was just the call was electric. Or whoever made the call, whoever was on the call that night, that call made that guy's career.
Bro, and like that's the one that Yankee fans remember too. Like as a Yankees fan, like the what I always see, like people tweet about when we play when the Guardians play the Yankees is like, I don't know, and I know his batting average is under 200, but every time this man steps to the plate, I get scared. Talking about John Kenzie Noel.
It's just to me like how, with the limitations that this team has, how are they going to manage like you gotta take 2 out of 3. Like you gotta win. You gotta string together some series and win some series and beat up on some bad teams.
Mm-hmm.
Because like this, I mean, they are 7.5 games back. Like they are a week away from being. Each week that goes by that they don't inch closer is another week that they gotta. I mean, they got Cincinnati, and then they go out west. They go Seattle, San Francisco, Oakland. Like you got to win 4 series in a row, and then they got Toronto. Are they any good?
Toronto's decent, but they're gonna sell Bo Bichette, so he might be on the trade block by the time they get there.
I mean, there's just a window. You got a window here. You know, this month of June, like you got the rest of June, you got a chance to beat up on some bad teams.
Mm-hmm.
And because then July 1, the Cubs come to town and they rake. Then you got 3 with Detroit, and then you got to go at Houston. So you got another 9-game banger where you got to figure it out. But like you got to beat up on these bad teams. You have to, man.
Mm-hmm.
So the other thing too is like you were going to ask me about Stephen Vogt, and I was thinking about this a lot, and like a lot of the decisions that he's been making has been questionable. But like, who's actually making these calls?
I mean, he makes the game day calls, right?
But like, is there a chart that says this is what you do in this situation? That they're telling him that this is what to do?
I mean, there's probably
because as far as I'm concerned, like the fact that John Kenzie Noel and Will Wilson were even on this roster and still are on this roster is a front office problem. It's not a Stephen Vogt problem. Like these are the tools that you're giving me. So my question is why? Like Stephen Vogt was in a uniform as a player
3 years ago,
18 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
No, maybe a little more than that.
24 months ago,
something like that. Like as a player, like you know who can play and who can't. Like you're trying to. If Stephen Vogt was in my basement right now, and I looked at him and I said, "Do you think that Will Wilson's actually a Major League Baseball player?" There's no way on this earth that he can look at me with a straight face and be like, "Yeah, I think he's a good player." You can't. I mean, he's in his last 7 at bats, he has 6 strikeouts and a bunt.
Yeah, I don't think
that's the reason why it makes me question who's pulling the strings.
Well, if that is the case, it makes it sound like something you sent this text to me yesterday. It's like something that you're not used to as a Cleveland Guardians fan, and you and I have had lots of discussions about this. You said that you feel like this might be the first time that the front office is failing you.
I think they're failing because there are like if you're telling me like CJ Cavus and Chase, like we've never seen them play Major League Baseball, but we know that they're better than Noel and Will Wilson. We know that. Like
and we're willing to see because right now, like Will Wilson and Noel are black holes in the lineup.
So who's telling like but there's no reason to bring Chase DeLauder up if you're not gonna let him face left-handed pitching.
Yeah, correct.
None. If you won't even let Nolan Jones do it, then like what's the point of bringing him up? So who's telling Stephen Vogt that you're not like it's almost as if he's not allowed to do it. Like he won't do it. That's why I'm questioning am I even allowed to be mad at Stephen Vogt? It's because it's like he's following a set of rules that have been given to him.
And do you hate that? Like, are you, like,
Yes, I hate that.
I was gonna say, honestly, it makes it feel like the Guardians are an unserious organization, and I know that they're not. And I don't think you can have it both ways, right? Like, if you're going to be the small ball team, you have to be really elite in roster decisions and lineup decisions. If you are the small ball team financially, and you're not really good on game days with lineup decisions and young player decisions, you run the risk of you're one Jose Ramirez away from this whole thing falling off a cliff, and that's gonna be really concerning.
Now, what I can be critical of Stephen Vogt because their base running has been terrible.
Mhm.
It's terrible in the sense of like what it usually is. Like if you're not going to bop the ball over the place, you got to run the bases well, and they aren't. Like if you're going to be the Guardians in their payroll, like you have to be the top of the league in base running. And I know it's very marginal. Like
What do you value base running, like first to third or steals?
just not getting thrown out all the fucking time. They're
Okay.
getting thrown out at the most elite clip I've ever seen. I think they lead the majors in getting thrown out on the bases. Angel Martinez got thrown out at second base to lead off the game. He batted lead off, hit a single down to left field. He was running first base, and the ball was already. He got thrown out second base by 5 steps.
Yeah, didn't they get thrown out twice at second in game
Twice
one?
in the inning. Now Jose Ramirez. The rule of thumb is with 2 outs and nobody on base, you try to stretch a single if you can. If it's a 50-50 call, you try to stretch the single and the double on a 50-50 call because now you're automatically in scoring position.
Well, I think
With 2
double
outs.
in that corner. I think ball hitting that corner off the wall. I honestly, it's funny. I thought he took a bad turn because I think part of him wondered if that was going to go out.
But either way, it's like stop getting thrown out of second base.
Yeah.
And like there's first, third, there are, lack of stolen, like there's weird stealing situations, like weird stuff. It's just the base running and the defense. And I put those on the manager because as a manager, like I believe that all these guys in Major League Baseball can play good defense. They're all really good, like to an extent. Like you have your Manny Ramirez's and like blah blah blah. Like those guys, like if they're gonna hit 330, like I don't give a shit. Do whatever the fuck you want to.
There's some players that are quote unquote bad at defense.
Correct. They are bad, but like for the majority, like all these guys that are playing Major League Baseball, all are good defenders.
Because a lot of times, like those guys don't have the bat to afford being bad at.
Correct.
At
And
defense.
so to me, it's like as a manager, just it has to be a priority for you to make sure that those guys understand like this is important.
Now, is this the Stephen Vogt way? Because last year, one could argue that it was really just the Terry Francona residue left
That's
over.
what we're getting. That's where this conversation's heading. It's like
Yeah.
now is this becoming Stephen Vogt's team more than Tito's team? Because like Jose Ramirez had his spell at the beginning of the year where his defense was bad, but like he's cleaned it up. He's playing good defense. He made some really, really nice plays in the last couple of weeks. And it's just like
And the areas that the Guardians are becoming deficient in, the Reds aren't.
right. Like the defense has to be when you are the Guardians, you have to play really good defense. You need to run the bases really well. At a minimum. Like elite at both. If you're not going to be elite offensively, you got to find another way. You got to make sure they don't score as many runs, and you need to find ways to steal more runs. And they aren't doing either of those. So that's my criticism of Stephen Vogt. But like as far as like his decision making, like I don't know, man. I'm really questioning who's pulling the strings when it comes to like really the hitting decisions. The pitching, like there's been some questionable stuff on pitching where like it's definitely his fault. Like he will not take Tanner Bybee out of the game until he gives up a run. So, there are some things that are to be desired when it comes to his pitching decisions. But when it comes to offensively, like I really believe I think he's being handcuffed. Because I just don't believe you can look at your roster as a baseball guy and be like, yep, I trust that guy to get it. I think he can get it done when you know he can't. You know it.
The Will Wilson thing. I know the John Canty Noel. Here we go. What was your thought when you saw John Canty Noel trot out there to pinch it for Nolan Jones?
My first instinct was to look at Nolan Jones, and he was mad. He was big mad.
And he had every right to be mad.
He absolutely. He had the baseball pouty face where you spitting seeds and not talking to nobody.
Yeah, bro, you're spitting the seeds hard as shit.
Like
I've
you're
been there
spitting
before.
mad. Like you're mad.
Like you're spitting trying to pierce somebody.
And so it's just like there's just no like. And I've been critical of Nolan Jones, and like I think I got some my own things I need to work out when it comes to how I evaluate offensive players. Like I got some
batting
shit I need
average,
to work
power.
out.
Yeah, you're still working through it as we get more.
I'm working through it, and I gotta find what I believe in because like the game is changing, and I need to adjust. But I know what I see. I've been watching baseball for a very long time. Like guys that have bad bat to ball and high chase. Like if you want to chase, you got to have good bat to ball.
Mm-hmm.
Like you got to have that. You can't have both. If you don't have either one of those, I know that, and I don't think I'll ever change on that. If you have bad bat to ball and a high chase, you are not going to be long for Major League Baseball.
So how does this apply? Are you talking about John Canty Noel?
John Kenzie Noel.
Okay.
So like, you thought he could be. I didn't see it because, like Vladimir Guerrero for an example, crazy chase. Like he swung at everything.
But the craziest bat to ball you ever will see.
But the craziest bat to ball you ever saw. And it was like, you can get away with it.
You live with it because it naturally just makes you a tougher out.
Yeah. Ichiro, crazy bat to ball. Like I'm talking like elite guys. Stephen Kwan is it's like a crazy bat to ball.
Jacob Wilson, crazy bat to ball.
Yeah, and it's just like you can't have bad bat to ball and bad chase. It has never, because what happens is pitchers learn they just will not throw you a strike.
Yeah, I could throw you 3 balls and get you out.
Yeah, and it's just like, so to me, I'm okay. Like Angel Martinez, to me, like I'll have to look at his real numbers, but like high chase, but like I feel like he's putting the ball in play for a good.
Yeah,
like, he's not striking out too much. I could be wrong on that, but it feels that way. So that's why I'm not willing to give up on
Angel has a good bat to ball rate.
Yeah.
I mean,
so
his K rate is 18%, and his whiff rate's only 20%, which is 72nd percentile in all baseball.
Yeah. So like, he's a young player. Like that's to me, like he's gonna get better. He's gonna get better as long as he gets to play, and he's the one that's getting to play, which makes you feel like the Guardians, the franchise, really thinks highly of him.
Yeah, they value him.
And I think, one, it's because he's a switch hitter. 2, I think they also told him to just follow Jose Ramirez around like a puppy dog on a leash.
And that's baby
Wherever
Jazz.
he goes, you go.
That's baby Jazz.
I mean, it's one of those things where like just do what he does. And so this team, I know what's going to happen. They're going to go out and they're going to sweep one of these 3 next. They're going to sweep somebody. And they're going to win the next 3 series, and everybody's going to be like, oh, they're back. And it's just like, okay, well, if this is who you are, if you're going to beat up on bad teams, then you better go out and beat up on bad teams.
Dude,
But the thing that the fan base and like myself included it's not that they lose to the good teams, it's what they look like when they do it. And it doesn't look competitive. Like,
no, sometimes it looks really competitive, and sometimes it looks like they're literally one player away, not even an elite player, just like one mid-level bat away. That's what would frustrate me, I think, if I were you.
Listen, you ain't never going to put out a lineup where you have 3 hitters hitting below 180 and expect to win a baseball game against a really good team. It's never going to happen.
That's fair, but like they're not like you guys have never been an easy out for us. Like
not for you guys, but like think about it, dude. We had a game where it was Bo Naylor, John Kenzie Noel, and Will Wilson was a 7-8-9 hitter.
Yeah, no, that's
never going to win you a game, bro.
And it's like that's why I honestly like I want to commend you for you standing in the paint for the Guardians, because like if I were you, I think if I was a Guardians fan, I just follow them closely, but if I was a Guardians fan, I think I would get more excited about this kind of team if I knew that they would try to do something at the trade deadline to bring me one more bat, right? Because like my Yankees right now, like we're a flawed team, but I know that if there's a bat out there that we can get to, that Cash is going to go get them. Like last year, we had the weird thing where we were one bat away, and so Cash went and added Jazz Chisholm. And it's like this year, there's going to be some real bats on the market. Like Bo Bichette is going to be on the market. That's the Toronto shortstop, and that would solve a lot of problems for the Guardians. Suarez, that's
The
the
reason why
third base.
the reason why the Guardians will never go get Bo Bichette, which I thought if they were going to go get Bo Bichette, it would have been last year. But the reason why they're not going to go get Bo Bichette because he's a free agent at the end of this year, and they're not going to be able to pay him.
I mean, they're able to pay him. They won't pay him.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Whatever, however you want to say it.
Because they will spend $27 to $28 million on like free agent additions, but they would rather be across 3 instead of 1.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Jacob Junis, Paul Sewald, Austin Hedges, and Carlos Santana, $25 million between the 4 of them.
Correct. And I think Bo Bichette's going to be about at the 26 mark. But I mean, shit, like Suarez, that's the third baseman that can also DH or whatever that plays for Arizona. He is a guy that is probably going to contend for like 35, 40 bombs this year. He's a really nasty bat. I mean, you got Duran, who that would solve the everyday right fielder issue, right? I think he's going to get moved at the deadline. So it's like there's
but he's left-handed, and they won't hit him against left-handed pitchers. Listen, the Guardians. The reason why I'm kind of moving quietly off of the Duran thing is because he's left-handed. Like, we need a right-handed hitter so bad. So bad.
At what point, though, is a bat, dude?
There's a hitter that I'm trying to understand why I like him because it goes against everything that I don't really think to be true. But, like, Luis Robert Jr., like, I want that guy so bad.
Mm-hmm.
So bad. He could go play center field, and then you can have Angel Martinez play second base, and there you go. You want to platoon right field? Have at it. But, like, now we have 8 positions where it's just like they're going to go play every day.
177. I never thought I'd hear you talk about him.
But, like, you know what?
I never thought.
I also have seen him hit 38 homers and drive in 100 runs and play Gold Glove level center field. I've seen it in 4K, live and in person.
And it's like, well, people are like, well, Tyler, don't you hate Nolan Jones?
Yeah, but Nolan Jones also did it in Colorado. I can't get over that fact. Bro, when you sneeze on a baseball in Colorado, it goes 500 feet. Achoo! Gone.
Just saying, man.
Listen, maybe I'm completely wrong on Nolan Jones, and I'm okay. Listen, everybody listening, I hope everybody knows I have zero problem admitting that I'm wrong. I don't give a shit if you think I'm a fucking idiot. I will say I'm wrong. I'll say I'm right. It doesn't matter. My reaction to Nolan Jones so far is that has not been as advertised. When we traded for Nolan Jones, and I was the first one to be like, hey, this might be something. This is a pretty good player.
He's nasty.
He looks different than the other guys we have.
Mm-hmm.
And now then he was hitting 185, and I was like, what's the big fucking deal?
It is weird that the home run pop isn't there, even as the average is going up.
He's at 2 homers. He needs to change his launch angle, which is a hard thing to do. The bat path needs to get a little bit more upright. And I'm not like that kind of guy, but like 108 mile-an-hour X velo only matters if you hit it like in the air. Nobody cares about a 100 mile-an-hour ground ball. Like, I'm sorry.
It's like if you stood him next to Volpe and asked who hit more home runs.
Exactly.
The answer is Volpe.
He looks like Superman, bro.
Yeah.
So, like, and maybe Nolan Jones turns it, and then you have Luis. If you go get Luis Roberts Jr., like, listen, there'd be nothing more that would make me happier as a Guardians fan where, like, I know who's playing every day because they always play.
I mean, if it was Nolan, Luis, and Quan as your 3 outfielders, I play them every day.
You could.
Like, I wouldn't hate that. I mean, essentially, because you want to get Giancarlo Noel at bats, isn't Luis Roberts, Giancarlo Noel the absolute maximized
proven quality? Proven, yes.
Isn't that Giancarlo Noel's ceiling?
Yeah, and you know what? I could make the argument that his average sucks this year because he knows his team is shitty,
He's just disengaged.
disengaged. You could make that argument. You put him on a playoff team that jumps up 75 points on his batting average. I can make that argument right now.
No, that's fair.
Because I think Jarren Duran's really good too, but he's only hitting like 220.
Yeah, they're having a down year, bro.
But you know what it is? What's his face? Devers is sucking the soul out of that whole organization.
I know you have the game on. Did you see what Devers did a couple innings ago?
He got plunked, and then he slammed his helmet after he struck out.
No, he hit a ground ball with the bases loaded.
Oh yeah,
and
didn't run it out.
Didn't run it out.
And everybody was like, "What the hell?"
Yeah,
He's dude's a cancer, man. He got paid $300 million, and he was like, "I'm good."
Mm-hmm.
Listen, I try to be. I do come across as very negative. That ball is tagged.
Yeah, Toro crushed that.
I come across as negative with the Guardians, but like it's just I want them to win so bad, and so many people want them to win a World Series, but they just don't. They don't do the things that they need to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I'm sorry, but like, nope. It's like the same thing with the Cavs, man. Like, after so many years of like winning the division and like going to the playoffs, it's like cool. Like, let's do the real thing. Let's do the whole thing. Because like a Guardians World Series would mean more than the Cavs finals in 2016. It would. It would be way more celebrated. It would be.
I mean, it probably would mean second to just like a Browns Super Bowl, right?
A Browns Super Bowl. I think the city of Cleveland would have to have the National Guard come in. Dead ass, bro. I am not joking. Not even a little bit joking.
Mm-hmm.
And a Guardians World Series would go very like you saw those people when the finals parade came. You saw those people because it was also June. It was beautiful that day.
Yeah, really nice out.
But like that would be the same thing in November. It would be. I promise it would be.
I mean,
Like
isn't that
this is
February?
a football town, but the people love their baseball, and like I know that it's hard to say that because nobody really like the stadium looks always empty all the time, but like I think that's a baseball problem
Mm-hmm.
more so than anything because like there's just 81 chances to go to those games. You know, it's like you don't always go, and like who also can always go to a Tuesday game at 6:00? Like it's people have lives to live,
right? People don't do shit like that.
So it's just one of those things where like this town wants them to be good, and they're always so close, and they just want their ownership to like give them a reason to be excited instead of a complaint. But then we got to watch John Kenzie Noel and Will Wilson go play baseball for us. And it's like, this is awful.
Shout out Will Wilson. Tyler's your biggest hater.
It's not even his fault, man. It's just, like,
he's just a William.
He's just wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah. He should be playing for the Rockies or the White Sox or
yes. He
or
just
even the Athletics second baseman.
He feels like exactly. He feels like a San Francisco Giant.
Yeah, I'm saying like who says no to Jacob Wilson and Will Wilson, middle infield?
Nobody.
Beautiful. But the A's don't do business with. Is this fan getting kicked out of the game?
I don't know. It's one of those Yankee cheap home runs.
Did you see
Yankee Stadium cheap home runs?
You see the security came over to him?
Yeah. Oh, there he goes. Yeah, we'll see ya.
They kicked him out?
No, not yet. Oh, he talked his way out of it. He's good.
Yeah, good.
No, you got to hear me out?
That was a home run. I do.
I got one too.
I do. I'll go. You want me to go first?
I'll go first. Mine's kind of wholesome, and people may make fun of me for this, like for being a bad dad. But one of the funniest things I could ever do, like, I have a 2.5-year-old, and we're at the stage now where he just like talks, like, oh my god, he talks so much,
just going
nonstop. And when we get in the car, there's nothing funnier to me than when he's talking mid sentence and I just shut the door on him. Like it's so rude, and like people can call me like, "Oh, you're a bad dad, you're a mean dad," but like that shit is so funny to me, bro.
Yeah, bro, that's funny, dude.
Sometimes I just need you to shut the fuck up.
Like, yeah, bro. Kids be going and like you lose track of what they're even saying. No, it's important because like kids need to learn that like words are valuable, and if you want your words to be valuable, you can't just be talking nonstop.
And it's just like he's talking, and I'm just like, shut the door. And then I get 3 seconds of silence. And then you get in the car and he's still talking. It's like, oh God.
Yeah, bro. No, I love kids,
It's one of
man.
the funniest things ever, though, when you just shut the door on a kid you just put in the car and he's still talking. It's like just a little sense of like, bitch.
Oh, you ready for mine, dude?
I'm ready.
And it's funny because I've been thinking about this. I started thinking about this yesterday, and then you brought it up kind of earlier today, before the show. I think that the corniest thing in sports is celebrations with props from teams.
Oh,
That shit is so corny, bro. Like, I do not like it, bro. I don't care. Call me like that shit is so weak, dude.
it does like I think there's a way to do it the proper way.
I've only
Like,
seen it work one time, and it's a turnover chain in Miami. And even that is
yeah, I
still
was gonna
kind
say
of
that the chain, I think you could do a chain for a lot of things. Like if you hit a homer, like you get a chain and you get to wear the chain down the dugout. And like when you start doing too much, like they did like what school did the throne? Like they had like a throne that you get to sit on.
oh, the turnover throne. I don't know. I know what you're talking about though. That shit is corny, dude.
Corny. Like the Red Sox wearing the thing, like the mascot face, corny.
You know what the Orioles do?
No.
They have a beer keg, and it's like filled with, I'm sure, like a Gatorade or whatever, and they all drink out of it after a home run.
Yeah.
That shit is ass, dude.
Yeah, I just like I don't mind a chain. I don't mind the chain. Like the chain I can get behind for a lot of different like baseball I could get behind, football I could get behind. But if you're doing stuff that like it takes like a lot to do,
Mhm.
like no, it's too much.
It's just I just think about like I want my sports moments, my celebrations, like if I look down the road to like give me chills, right? Like I want to be able to watch a home run like 10 years from now, a meaningful home run, the trot around the bases, the dugout, like the high five in the dugout, and then the point to the crowd. But you're telling if I get an iconic Boston home run from here on out, if they make it to the World Series for somehow in the next 2 years, and I gotta watch, Christian Campbell hit a big home run, it's an iconic moment, and then he goes and puts on that big fucking fuzzy thing on his head. It's like that ruins it, doesn't it?
Think about like Jose Bautista
Mm-hmm.
and the home run he hit in the playoffs where he launches the bat. Like that, it's like
Yes.
people will see that home run for a long time.
Yeah. And it's like at the end of your home run trot, bro. If I'm Jose Batista and I'm trotting around the bases, the last thing I want a motherfucker to do is put that big, hot, sweaty ass mascot on my fucking face. No.
Yeah, there's like I also can appreciate the aspect like it's kind of played out like super like get off my lawn, but it's like act like you've been there before. Like I'm
Yeah.
all for celebrating. I love it. I love when pitchers talk shit to hitters when they strike out. I love when hitters pimp home runs. I love all of it. I think it's so fun.
Mm-hmm.
But like we don't like dog, you're gonna hit like 180 homers as a team. I gotta put this damn thing on my head every 180 times.
And I
Come
know
on.
it smells crazy in there.
Yeah, it's like no, we
I
don't
know
need to
it
do
does.
all that.
And that's where I'm at, bro. That's my hear me out, dude. Like and here we go. Like some places need it, right? And I'm more talking about colleges. Like Akron needs the turnover tire. They're ass. They're bad.
The turnover tire, I never heard of that.
Bro, when they get a turnover, because they don't really get that many turnovers, they put a big Goodyear tire like it's a chain. They need that though. They're not going to win any games, so like they need that kind of,
Yeah, I guess.
you know.
No, yeah, I'm with you. The turnover chain, I can get behind the turnover chain or a home run chain, but other than that, like I've seen one college baseball team where like if they get a homer, like when he's coming across the home plate and he like coming close to the dugout, they give him a sledgehammer and he like hammers the ground. Like too much.
Yeah, bro. Like, boy, I just swung this bat. I'm trying to swing this sledgehammer.
Can you imagine the field maintenance crew watching a dude just sledgehammer the fucking dirt in front of the dugout? I'd be pissed.
I'm crashing out, bro, because those guys are obsessed with their jobs.
And they should be, and they work really hard, like crazy hard.
Yeah.
No, yeah, it's not.
from that. But we're at an hour 24, big dog.
Light work.
Light work, a light pack. I'm Chris. That's Tyler.
Peace.